Welcome to the THRIVE360 Podcast. My name is Mitch McKinney. I'm the founder of THRIVE360 Ministries, a ministry that is dedicated and focused to helping people lead healthy and finish well. Super excited that you're here with us today. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to encourage you to like and subscribe to this channel on YouTube or whatever platform that you're tuning into. It would mean the world to us. I'm super excited today because I have a very, very special guest, Fredy Romero, all the way from Long Beach, California.
I'm super excited to be here. As we would say in the West Coast, stoked to be here.
Stoked, yep.
Yeah, I'm stoked
Ready?
to be here, yeah.
Really appreciate you jumping in with us.
Of course.
From just the short time we've known each other, I have learned a lot about you, that you are and hopefully you don't blush, but you are an amazing leader. You have been an amazing partner and friend to me just the short time. Every time we talk, I leave inspired, I leave encouraged, and I don't know whether to thank you or blame you because you are half of the reason why this podcast started.
Whichever it is, I'm grateful for it because it's getting done, and I know the world is better because you and Monty launched this podcast.
Yeah, well, Thank you for that, and maybe one day we'll get the other half, Abel, on the podcast.
You
as
absolutely will.
He's here now. You just can't see him.
Yeah, you just can't see him right now, but he's here.
Well, I am. I'm excited to jump in and talk about what God is stirring in your heart.
Yeah.
When it comes to not just the work He's doing with you, but what He's stirring in you in regards to leader health and care. Before we get into all that, though, can just give us a little snapshot about who you are. Tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Son of immigrant parents, Central American parents, Salvadorian and Guatemalan. Born and raised in Los Angeles. Grew up in South Central Los Angeles. And my dad was a pastor. So as a Spanish-speaking only person, he planted a church in Wilmington, California, a small little town, and grew up seeing a lot of, he was so good at teaching. And for some reason, the church that he was at felt that was enough qualification to send him out to plant a church because everyone loved the way he preached and the way he taught the Bible.
Right.
And for some reason, in Spanish culture, it was like, hey, whoever can communicate the best is automatically, you're a pastor, you're a leader. They sent him out to plant a church in Wilmington, give him a little bit of seed money, and then said, vaya con Dios. That was it. And then he was grinding away for 25 years.
Wow. So
I think in God's mercy, he finally shut his church down about 6 months before the pandemic. Yeah. And I do think we all now know that was God's grace for him because for sure he would have been one of those statistics that would have closed his church during the pandemic because he wouldn't have survived it. Yeah. But there was a lot of surviving over those years. There wasn't a lot of thriving. Yeah. And I saw that growing up.
Yeah. Wow. How'd you get connected to Thrive?
So my friend Max, who I've known for 26 years now.
That's right.
26 years now. We went to the same middle school in South Central Los Angeles. We were probably the only Latino and Black pair of friends. There were a lot of gangs in South Central. Yeah. And then Blacks and Latinos, we just don't mix well. But for some reason, one day Max was sitting next to me and he just turned around. He was bored. He was supposed to be doing his work. And he turned around and he goes, hey, do you watch wrestling? And
something like Max.
We were like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So we've been friends for 26 years. And he hit me up earlier this year out of the blue. He said, are you free right now? Because he's planting in Atlanta. Right. I live in California. Right. And he texted me. He's like, hey, are you free right now? I said, what's up? He goes, call me. I called him. I thought something was wrong. And he said, hey, I went to this retreat with other pastors last month. They're having another one next month. Yeah. You got to go. Wow. And I said, okay, man, what is it about? Like, how much is it? He's like, don't worry about it. You just have to go. Trust me. And I thought there was a catch to it. Yeah. I was very skeptical. He sent me a link. Yeah. I ignored it. I ignored it, but he was persistent. And so a week later, he said, hey, they checked back and they said that you didn't fill out the application. And he was persistent that I fill it out because I guess he had a great experience and he just wanted me, his friend, to have the same experience. And that's how I got connected. Came here in June of 2023.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I love that guy, Mag. He's
Yeah.
such an incredible man and leader, and he's just this,
Huge teddy bear.
Yeah, he's a huge teddy bear.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. So you step out in faith. You take a journey across the country. You fly from Long Beach all the way to Orlando. You attend the retreat.
Yeah.
What happened at the retreat?
At the retreat, I was going through, what happened at the retreat, I mean, we didn't know what we were coming to be honest.
Yeah, right.
I had a lot of different expectations because I love personal development. I love to study. I'm a learner.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got here, just no pressure to perform.
Yeah.
Oftentimes when I'm with other pastors in my network or other pastors that I know, it just becomes like a measuring of sorts, an ego measuring contest. Like,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're fortunate. I'm just kidding. And I'm sure nobody that's listening to this has any idea. It only happens in Long Beach. And, we start to talk about our staff size, our church size, attendance, budget size.
Right.
It's just, I don't know why we lead with that. Like, that's our identity. When I came here, I had no idea who was leading. I had no idea who was coming. In fact, when I left, I hardly knew where everyone was serving. And so that was very liberating, Mitch, to be able to come here. And we were treated, yes, as pastors, but that wasn't primarily the way we were treated. We were treated as human beings. And I think that I had lost touch with that. And being in a very hard season for me.
Yeah.
My wife and I
definitely God's timing. Right?
Absolutely, because I got to share something with the group that I hadn't shared with many people, even in my own church. Even though I told my staff and stuff, but after 9 years of journeying with my wife, being married, we hadn't been able to have kids. So for the first time in 9 years, we got pregnant. And she told me on Christmas Day, and then 2 days later we're in the ER and we're being told we have a miscarriage.
Oh my gosh.
Then in February, she tells me we get pregnant again. And that was already a huge blow. Yeah. But it gave us a lot of hope. There's a silver lining, but it was a huge blow entering the new year. And in February, we get pregnant again for the second time. We've never been pregnant. And then a month later, we miscarry again. So it was such a hard season for me. A lot of grieving, a lot of sorrow, a lot of mourning. And I didn't know how to do that well. I didn't know how to lament well. But when I came here, I realized that loss also exposed the unhealthiness in which I'd been living for so many years. Yeah. I kept wanting to work my way out of grief. Yeah. Work my way out of this loss and this pain and try to be strong for my wife. But I had very poor habits. Yeah. And so what ended up happening is those poor habits that I had and those poor practices that I had just compounded tremendously during that grieving season. And so I was coping. I had different vices and I started to isolate and I didn't even notice. Right. And that was already a practice. But when you're grieving and life punches you in the face,
you're just doing whatever you can to survive, like through those seasons.
And you go to what you know. Yeah. And what I knew was some people with their Christian rhetoric, they don't know how to walk alongside someone who's grieving, someone who's mourning. Yeah. And so their, hey, God has a purpose for this, isn't really helpful in the moment when you're grieving loss. And so all you know to do is to isolate. Yeah. And you do it out of self-protection. Yeah. But what you don't realize is it's not self-protection. It's actually self-damaging. You're self-sabotaging. Yeah. And so when it came to Thrive, I realized, A, I'm allowed to grieve because I'm a human being. And number two, I can admit that this is hard, but I don't have to stay in this season. Right. And you and Monty and the rest of the pastors and leaders that were at that retreat with me helped me understand. And there was a lot of breaks where a guy would come, knock on my door, and pray over me. A lot of sessions where guys would be like, hey, I know how I feel. Yeah. And they would share their story. Yeah. And so I found community. Aside from all the tools I was able to get as well to start finding my true north and heading in the right direction. Yeah.
So you came in with a limp for sure. You weren't in a great season. And it's not like you left the retreat with like healed and whole and everything, but that's not the point of work we do. The work we do at the retreat is we try to put things in motion that you can grab hold of that can lead you into health in the days to come.
Yeah.
And I mean, has that happened? Has it helped you post-retreat?
Oh, well, absolutely. So post-retreat, I was 6 months before we had the opportunity to come back to launch retreat. Mm-hmm. And so when we came back to launch retreat last year, we were able to self-evaluate and look at the progress or regress of where we were. And what I noticed is that even though the things, and I mean, if you've not experienced a THRIVE360 retreat, like I recommend it wholeheartedly, but we do one of these exercises where we gauge where we are. And so we put all the good stuff on the green column and then all the neutral stuff in the yellow column and all the danger zone in the red column. And I noticed that the practice and the habits in my life that were in red were trending towards yellow, and everything that was in yellow is trending towards green. And so even though I could admit that maybe I wasn't completely out of...
Yeah, you're not all the way there, but you're on the way.
On the way. Yeah. And I realized that in 6 months, like, if you've been living unhealthy for your whole life...
Yeah, it's probably not going to turn around in a couple of weeks or
even
a couple of months.
There has to be some grace.
Yeah.
To know that
healing, grieving,
it's going to take some time to recover and to unlearn a lot of old patterns and old mindsets. Yeah. So the tools that we got have completely helped me not only to become a better man and to seek healing, but also become a better leader to other people.
Praise God for that, man. And so I'm glad that Thrive has been a blessing to you. But you have been a blessing to Thrive, because as we've talked and talking about leader care in general, God began to speak through you, and I think gave us a bigger vision than what I started with, right? Because as we were talking about leader care and the leaders that desperately need help and health, you began to talk about something I had not thought of, which was what?
I started thinking about all the pastors like my dad and our Latino culture. Immediately when I got here, a friend of mine, Abel, was with me, and who we already discussed, and we immediately started thinking about the people in our lives that could use this, because we were talking about like moral failures, we were talking about burnout, we were talking about spiritual abuse or leadership abuse, we were talking about unfulfillment, not finishing well, and as you and the rest of the people were describing these things, I all these images, and of course, you never in the moment think it's you.
Right.
You never oh, someone who burned out, I know who. Oh, someone who had a moral failing, I know who. Yeah. But quickly, not only did God show me people, but He also let me know, hey, you can become that. Right. If you don't take care of this now. Yeah. And so what I realized is like, man, I need to dive in to all the content, all the resources, and apply the tools given to me, so that I can be the forerunner for Latino culture. Yeah. And
are there specific struggles in Latino culture in ministry, from a ministry standpoint, leadership standpoint?
Absolutely. I think that especially the immigrant that came to the United States, they came here for a better life, or they came fleeing like war usually, or crime. And so when they get here, they come here with their culture of scarcity mindset, being poor, not having enough. And so all that, our parents know to do is fight and work. And so they have to fight and earn what's theirs. And so that bleeds into their religion. It bleeds into their faith. Sure. Their image of God is a God that is displeased when you are not serving,
I get that.
When you are not in church every time you're available and healthy enough to go to church, when you're not giving sacrificially, when you put other things ahead of God, you are labeled lukewarm Christian, because how could any other thing have a priority over your life if God's been so good and He's allowed you to come to this country and you're able to acquire a job and at least you have a roof over your head, and you start to think about all the poor people back in your country that don't have what you have. And so that bleeds into faith so much that then our faith our upbringing is a works-based faith that God is not pleased with me unless I produce.
Right.
And so that is difficult. And even for us who are first generation Americans, we are taught that. We are taught that we need to take advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah. Yep.
And if we don't get straight A's, if we don't get into college, if we don't become successful, that is a heavy burden, a lot of pressure to carry. And it's because it's like, hey, you had an opportunity that I didn't have. And that language is spoken to us from a very young age.
Yeah.
And it bleeds into our faith. And so we have a lot of pastors that are stressing because their churches aren't growing, their ministries aren't blowing up. They're constantly comparing themselves to the pastor down the street. They're constantly trying to outwork themselves. And they're trying to outwork also every single volunteer and church member, because they feel that leading by example means that not only do I give direction and provide vision for the ministry, but I too must be the first one in, last one out, or else I'm not capable of leading this congregation.
I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's definitely some real deep challenges there. What can we do to kind of bridge the gap and start to make some ways to help these leaders?
I would say simply share what you know. It's like the gospel.
Yeah.
Like when you come to know the good news and you see what it's done for you in your life, you can't help but to share it with other people who don't know the gospel. Mm-hmm. And so I think that when you find water in the desert, if you really love people, you'll scream, hey guys, there's water here.
Look what I found.
Look what I found. Come and drink some. Be refreshed like I've been refreshed. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the simple thing that we can do is what my friend Max did for me. Yeah. Loved me enough, cared for me enough to say, hey, you need to go to this retreat. Yeah. And I think for those of us that have experienced resources of personal development and spiritual growth and just leading healthy content, such as THRIVE360, like how you guys provide, I think the burden is on us who are minorities and come from maybe very toxic cultures and a lot of religiosity, to go back to our homes and let our parents know that this isn't how it has to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this way.
It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to lose your kids. You don't have to lose your family. Yeah. 1.2 million young people are leaving the church every single year, are leaving the faith every single year, Mitch. And I believe that a good portion of that is because they do see the burnout, the abuse, the moral failures, and they question these pastors who demanded perfection in a works-based faith. And if they couldn't get it right, being at church 6 times a week and fasting and praying,
why would we want to be part of that?
And what chance do I have to get it right?
Right.
I know myself.
Wow.
And so to be able to go back and tell Spanish-speaking leaders and immigrant leaders and minority leaders, like, hey, it doesn't have to be that God is pleased with you. One of the things that you guys had us do is remind ourselves of what God says about me. Right. Day one, you guys put up scriptures that we know by heart. But it's so easy for us as pastors to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ and grace and forgiveness to other people because we love them well, but we never apply that grace and forgiveness to us. We don't accept it ourselves. Yeah. And you and Mitch had us, Monty had us reflect after the sessions and read scripture. Yeah. And I was in my room reading scripture and just telling myself in the mirror, I'm a child of God. Yeah. I'm loved by him.
Game changer.
I'm approved by him. Yeah. I don't need to do another single thing for the rest of my life. And he won't love me any less. Yeah. That was freeing for me.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. I can't thank God enough for crossing our paths and for the work that he's already done in you. I thank him, but for the work he's going to do, I know that he's just getting started. I'm grateful that we get to do this work together, and whatever we can do to help the Latino culture and the Latino leaders that are struggling, Thrive is all about it.
Yeah.
So thank you for jumping in, having this conversation. We're going to have you back at some point. Sure. And so we appreciate the time. Thank you all for joining us as well. We have resources that we want to help you with. We have a monthly check-in that we provide free to leaders who want it. It's just a resource that we send out that is all about leader care. And so if you'd like to receive that, all you have to do is go to our website, thrive360.com, all words, thrive360.com, and you can sign up there and we'll get that to you. We're going to keep this conversation going Fredy.
Yeah.
And we hope that you'll join us next time. Make sure you're looking out for the next episode of the Thrive 360 podcast. Between now and then, be safe, God bless, be healthy. See you soon.